Hi, it's New Year's Eve 2021. I've had a lazy day. I think the only time I left the house was to go get breakfast from Jack in the Box this morning. Watched the Suns game, they lost. Just been kind of hanging out. Now I got the kids. I've stayed up till New Year's Eve pretty much every year, as long as I can remember, or at least as an adult. And today I'm not inclined to do so. I have no, I don't care about being awake at midnight. I care about getting a good night's sleep and waking up tomorrow and enjoying my favorite day of the year, which is New Year's Day. So I got a group I'm going to try to meet with at 6:30 tomorrow morning. Yeah, I got friends who are out there doing whatever tonight. Hopefully everyone stays safe. Back when I was drinking, we used to call it amateur night, because those of us who were getting drunk every night, it was just another night. But these amateurs, they come out and they start driving crazy and all this shit, man. So you gotta kind of watch yourself if you're out there. I've typically, these last several years, I usually go to the casino on New Year's Eve. Usually there's a game, and it's usually a really good game, and I usually stay till midnight, but tonight I'm sick. That's the other thing, I'm under the weather, so I wouldn't want to go out anyway, but I got the kids, so yeah, I'm happy to sit this one out, enjoy it, enjoy that if you're out there partying. Hope you guys have fun, and hope it goes well. So, what else? I reached out to a friend last night who I'd been talking to her. I talked with her a few weeks ago. I think she reached out when my book was published to say congrats, and I had lost her contact information. Well, we had talked a little. No, I reached out to her last night, and we talked some more, and I got real with her, and I told her what I've been thinking about, and she was real nice about it. She was really gracious, and kind, and I found her over the years to be a kind person, and I really like that. So I'm happy about that. I feel happy today because of that. And I think there's a lot that can be discussed, but I think a lot of people have held a lot inside for a long time, and things just come up as they come up. But it made me feel good about our relationship, and just feeling like I have a friend who I can tell something to that's personal and that's private in nature, and that they can receive that with kindness. that is awesome. And it makes me happy. So, cool. We're ending the new year with the old year with a little bit of happiness. I've restarted a discourse with my other friend who had briefly departed. You know, she reached out and said Happy Christmas or whatever. And I've started talking with her again. You know, and it's nice to talk to her and tell her about stuff that's going on, because she's always been someone who I feel like I can talk about. I guess it's kind of the same thing, you know, it's personal stuff, private stuff. And even when I guess I don't know. Hopefully she didn't reveal any personal information about me when we had our dispute. I don't think she's the kind of person who would do that, but people have been known to do such things, and I guess if she had, I wouldn't know about it, but hopefully not. If she did, well, if I don't know about it, it doesn't really hurt me, and if I do find out about it, I'll just have to have a conversation about that, won't I? And we'll see how that goes. So, I've had a couple reviews on my book. Both people who've read it, they told me it was an easy read, which I was glad to hear, because that was one of my concerns, would be that it was a little too heavy for some people. And I mean, you know, these guys seem reasonably intelligent, but it's nice to hear that they thought it was an easy read. So even if for some people it's a more difficult read, at least hopefully it won't be too difficult. You know, one guy, he mentioned he thought it got a little weird in a couple places. And you know, I do have some conjecture in there. I do have some, well, this is a possibility type stuff. And that's all it is, you know? I mean, I like to think about stuff and like fantasize about like possibilities. And I do talk about some of that stuff, especially towards the end of the book. So, yeah, I mean, it's tough to please everyone, you know. But he said that, you know, the overall book, it seemed like he liked it, and he thought I had some good points and stuff. So, yeah, I've been wanting to get into editing. I was going to do it today, but I've been relaxing. I haven't. Yesterday, I actually went up to Las Vegas for the day, played a poker tournament, and then drove back. That kind of took a lot out of me. Today, I think I'm just kind of recovering from that. So, gave one book away up there to a guy who I met briefly by the freeway downtown. Yeah, I've had some interesting interactions in that area before, but that was a good one to have, and I gave him $3 because I didn't know who it would be. I figured there'd be someone there, but I didn't really have a feel for how the whole culture works in that part of the world. And after having left the book, I kind of wish I'd left 20 in there, because money talks, and I'd like to get the attention of people. Especially people who live in different worlds than I live in. And I mean, it is one big world, but there's different experiences in this world. And some people have very different experiences and have had very different ones than the ones I've had. And I want peace in this world between those of us who have had different experiences. And I want a better world where, I don't know who this guy was, who I gave the book to. Maybe he's a good guy, maybe he's a bad guy. Maybe he's a guy who does bad stuff. But, there's been a way of doing business in this world, and when you have restrictions on economic markets, it creates a culture of violence. And when there's a culture of violence, being a bad guy can yield benefits and rewards. And people want to be competitive and compete in these markets for the sake of their own survival, for the sake of their own respect, their own making their own place in the world. And people have the opportunities that they have. So I believe that most people who do use violence, it's not because they want the victims to suffer so much as it's how business gets done. And this is a violent system. This is it's not just people operating in the black markets who are using violence. People who are using government to coerce others, they're using violence. They're just using it through the government, through the legal structure. But just because it's legal doesn't mean it's not violence. So, who really has their hands all the way fucking clean? I don't know. Maybe there's someone, but it's been a tough world. Now, there's a potential he was a real bad guy. There's a potential he was one of those guys who does want to hurt people, who does want to make other people suffer. I didn't get that particular vibe from this guy. He just was a guy. There wasn't anything particular that struck me about him. Well, one thing that struck me was the fact that he was there, that he was the guy. And as I got on that freeway, I was thinking about that corner and kind of what that represents in that neighborhood. And thinking that whoever that person is on that corner, like that's someone's fucking corner, dude. I don't know, dude. Maybe I'm wrong. But he just seemed like someone more significant than, random beggar, This guy wasn't asking for money. He was off a little ways. But as I slowed down, he approached. It's whatever, man. A lot of stuff goes on in my head, man. But if you are a real bad guy, we want to do everything we can to mitigate victims, violence being imparted upon victims. And in my book, I talk about how we can do that. by preventing people from enslaving others on their land. So if you want to leave someone's land, you should be free to leave their land, period. If someone's abusing you and you want to keep going back to their fucking land and you want to keep getting abused, that's your fucking fault. That's your fucking decision, you know? If people want to voluntarily engage in relationships where someone's being violent against someone else, but as long as no one's held to it, as long as no one's forced, as long as this is truly voluntary participation, that's all it is, you know? Link up that supply and demand. There are masochists in this world. There are people who enjoy certain forms of pain. So it's possible to link up that demand to a degree. But those who violate the rules, enslaving people against their will, those people will run into trouble if we put into place the societal-wide security force that I recommend that we fund charitably. So I got carried away a little bit on a tangent there, but if you view this video, hello. I hope you enjoy the book. Let me know what you think. And the same goes to anyone else who happens to find this video. So Happy New Year, guys.